We can speak now to Ellie Reynolds. Ellie, who is from Barrow. She identified one of the 3 convicted brothers as her alleged abuser 6 years ago. Her case never made it to court, and instead the authorities tried to prosecute her. Incredible. So she's now waived her right to anonymity to tell her story publicly, and she's also pushed for a national inquiry. Ellie, a very good morning to you. Thanks very much for waiting. I'm sorry to keep you waiting there. This is a terrible story. Tell us what happened. Why did they decide to prosecute you instead of the man and the men who attacked you and assaulted you?
I think the short answer to that is that I was an easy target. They had pretty much no work to do when they were criminalising the victims of this rather than the actual organised gangs that were going around abusing young girls. I was subjected to 5 years of horrific crimes, child sexual exploitation, human trafficking, modern-day slavery. I was drugged. I was held in flats for days. I was multiple gang raped, more times than I could ever count. 5 years of hell to get out of it. I never thought I was going to make it out. For the police to then, well, I went to the police thinking, you know, as any person would, thinking, oh, you know, they're going to help. They're there to protect me. I'm doing the right thing. And I very quickly learnt within a 24-hour period that they were doing anything to shut me down.
Right.
They went as silly as arresting me for offences that I'd never even heard of. I was really naive.
Right.
To as stupid as fining me for no seatbelt or accusing me of just very minor crimes as well. So it was years of just pretty much picking to shut me up and silence me.
And how old were you when this all started then?
I was 13 when it started, and that was 2013, and I was 2018 when I got out of it. Right. So a long time.
That's extraordinary. And what sorts of things did they say to you? I mean, did they try to kind of convince you that either it wasn't happening or that you would somehow given your consent to it? What were they saying?
Yeah, so there was a couple of times in particular that I really remember, and I was taken to a flat, and the police had been called and the police had took me out of the flat, and when they came up, instead of asking me, you know, the questions of why are you here with a lot of grown men, or are you safe, it was provoking me until I lashed out, and then they arrested me. It was that I was consenting, I was trouble, I had a rough childhood, which was not the case at all. I was doing it to myself. I was putting myself at risk for exploitation because I was hanging around with older guys. Pure and utter victim blaming.
And so did you ever see a female police officer at any time during these kind of conversations?
I did, yeah.
So they were saying all that as well?
Yeah, surprisingly, the females you'd think would, you know, without being sexist, you'd think they'd have a little bit more compassion, a little bit more maternal side to them.
Right.
The females are probably just as bad. So there was a female that stood out that had said, no, I think you're just attention seeking. I think you need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
It was actually a female police officer that took my first initial statement when I reported the whole thing. She wasn't interested. Funnily enough, there was one police officer on the force that was begging the police force for help in my case, saying it's too big, I really need some help. And we've got that on video because another police officer had told us. He was a male and he was lovely. He went against pretty much everything to try and get that conviction, and he was shut down by not only the police force but the CPS as well.
Wow. And what about the 3 convicted brothers? These men that you accused of abusing you. Where are they?
So I only had run-ins with one of the convicted. The rest of my abusers are still roaming the streets, living life like they're somewhat normal.
Right. Do you still see them?
I haven't lately, but they are back and forth in my town, and my town's a very, very small place. So you always do have that risk of going out and bumping into people that have done something to you. Right. I do not go out on my own. I've always got somebody with me for that reason. But the majority of them, I think in any case as well, are still roaming the streets.
Yeah. And do you worry about ever seeing them, if you do?
Yeah, I mean, when you've gone through 5 years of hell, you come out really suffering. and I did develop complex PTSD from it. So if I'm not worried about going out and seeing them, you're barely getting a good night's sleep because you're having nightmares. It's constantly. Whereas people think, you know, oh, 5 years and then she's come out of it and she's really happy. I am really happy, but what they need to remember is that it's a lifelong effect. It doesn't just take its course for 5 years and then you forget about it. It's the rest of your life that's then altered and shifted, and you know you're a changed person after that, and that's what's a shame.
And you've done terribly well to decide to you know, to come out of your anonymity and talk about this. I mean, you said you wanted to have a national inquiry. Obviously, it's good now that Keir Starmer has had one. But have you got a message for him? Because he hasn't even spoken since it's been announced that this is what's been going on. He's gone over to Canada. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't acknowledged that the report's coming out, that there's going to be you know, there is going to be an inquiry. He hasn't set the terms for that inquiry. You got a message for him?
I think, as I was saying to Kev last night, I strongly believe that my toddler could run the country better. I believe that he's very in his head. He's crumbled under pressure, and I honestly believe that he's not said a word because they're going to look like clowns when it comes out how corrupt and how deep in with it these sort of people are. They know about it. They can't sit there and say we've been unaware. You know about it. You haven't done anything. You need to be holding people to account, and that's not just the perpetrators. That's people from police forces, children's services, schools. If everybody put their heads together and worked together, we wouldn't have this big of a problem. But as I always say, I feel like it'd be strongly different if it was a police officer's daughter, or if it was a children's service worker, if it was their child. It's always because it's somebody else's child. It doesn't matter, and it should not be like that. We really are a country that should be fighting together. It does not matter what the circumstances are. If you have touched a child, we should all be coming together to get that child justice and to get our country justice as well. People years and years ago did not fight for the country to look like the mess it is today.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a shocking state of affairs. So you would hope then that they will contact you at some point, the people running the inquiry, to hear your story.
I'm hoping so. I'm looking forward to it if they do. I'd be the first to stand up and advocate for not only myself but for many other people as well. So I'm hoping so.
Okay. Well, Ellie, listen, I really appreciate you talking to us, and thank you so much, and good luck with everything. Ellie Reynolds there, a grooming gang victim who was attacked over 5 years, as you just heard her, gang raped multiple times, so much that she doesn't even remember exactly how bad it was. She's waived her right to anonymity, and she's talking about it. She wants Keir Starmer to do something. She wants Keir Starmer to speak about it at the very least, and she certainly wants people who are corrupt, that she knows, to be held to account.